Amarim did get that wrong, by the way. It would be wrong of me not to say that. He got that wrong. He did. Mason Mount should not have started over Garnacho. And I'll argue that with anybody. He was crap in that game, and Garnacho should have started. I would much rather, if we're asking that question, I would much rather be keeping 20-year-old Garnacho, who's available and better than Mount, than 25-year-old Mount, who's always injured.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So obviously today was the last match of the Premier League. A Premier League season that is the worst I can ever remember. And to be honest with you, I'm glad that it's finished. Our season is done, no trophies, and obviously, finishing 15th place. So yeah, I mean, nothing to write home about. It's been an awful season from start to finish, to be honest. And we're gonna, break that down. Obviously, before we do that, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I really just want to react to not only the season number one, but really the biggest game of the season. And that was that Europa League final against Tottenham. Obviously, Mark Goldbridge has discussed the fact that he disagrees with Amarim's decisions. You saw Amarim today, come out and address the fans and say that this club will be back. And Amarim is someone that, I'm starting to really lose and I've pretty much lost all faith at this point. It seems to me like a lot of Manchester United fans are listening to just his words and not his actions. And I think we're doing that too much. I don't think someone can just come in and say all the right things and then, shows that in that final especially, he's poor tactically in my opinion. Are Amarim's arms tied behind his back with the ownership? Yes. But, I just asked a simple question to you Manchester United fans, do you think that this guy could do better? And if the answer is yes, then in my opinion, I'm well within my rights to criticize him. I think it's interesting now that he's pretty much publicly come out and said that, Garnacho is done at this club. Because Garnacho came out after the game and said, in my opinion, I think that's a fair and valid point. Garnacho pretty much played every single game this season, showed his discipline, showed his dedication to the team when we were, going through terrible times. Mason Mount, who's been nowhere to be found really for 2 years since he's come to Manchester United, £55 million. You start him in that final, you start Luke Shaw, and neither of them had any business, being, probably not even being at the club. This is what Luke Shaw likes to do. He likes to, not play at all, but he'll get fit for the Europa League final. He'll get fit for the Euro final for England. But for the rest of the time, Luke Shaw's nowhere to be found. I mean, I won't be surprised if the beginning of next season, both of them are not available. So you pretty much put all your trust in Mason Mount, who was rubbish in that final. Luke Shaw, who, along with Onana, gave away the goal. You put all your faith in these guys and they let you down. So no, I mean, I'm actually on Garnacho's side. Do I think that we would have won that game if Garnacho started? I mean, potentially not. I'm not sitting here saying that Garnacho is the be all end all, but Amarim's made a lot of mistakes. I also really don't like the fact that he pretty much came in from day one and said that we're in trouble. And I don't really understand that defeatist mindset. I mean, as Manchester United fans, we know that we're in trouble. We know that we're going to be in difficult times. But this guy, really just set the bar so low. And he's the manager. He's getting employed to, really turn things around. I don't think it's a wise tactic because Jose Mourinho did the same thing. He pretty much just came out and said how bad his players are and the club's not good. And, what confidence is that really giving to your team? What atmosphere is that setting in the dressing room at Old Trafford? It's not really setting, a good standard in my opinion. This is a manager that also, benched Casemiro for 2 months. Clearly wanted to get rid of him, and now Casemiro showed that he's easily one of the best players on the team. You put your faith and trust in Bruno Fernandes, putting him captain, and again Bruno Fernandes going all over the pitch. Another player that was awful in that final. It's been 5-6 years of Bruno Fernandes now, and what has he really won? Yeah, he got an assist today, but this is Bruno. He pretty much stat pads against the teams that aren't great. And when you really need him, he's nowhere to be found. So, look, if we're being offered 100 million plus for Bruno Fernandes, I'll get rid of him. I'll get rid of him tomorrow. I think we need a new chapter for Manchester United. In my opinion, I would like to see a new manager. I don't think that's going to happen. I think, if we do a massive rebuild, I've got massive reservations about this manager. I think tactically he's been poor. His win rate's awful. And again, I know that his arms are, tied behind his back, but I think that he could have done better with what's available. We were asking you to beat Tottenham, a team that got 38 points in the Premier League and was in 17th. That's who we were asking you to beat. I don't really understand, the issue with these modern managers where they're so stuck in their ways, they're so stubborn. Yeah, Ange Postecoglou in that final, he didn't play Ange football. He pretty much sat back, counter-attacked, got his wing backs forward and put a bunch of crosses in, and we couldn't defend them. So, I think Ange pretty much scored during that final. I think that showed massive tactical deficiencies, in my opinion. Who do I want to sell from this season? I think 5 names immediately ring a bell. I think Bruno Fernandes, there's a lot of money in him. I'll get rid of him. Rasmus Højlund, I don't know how there's interest in him from Juventus. I don't know how there is, but apparently there's interest in Italy. I will get rid of him. Not good enough. Mason Mount, Luke Shaw. And lastly, in my opinion, the goalkeeper. I think the goalkeeper is someone that I've been loyal to. I've had a lot of patience with. I think he's someone that proved it in a Champions League final. But it just, for whatever reason, it has not worked at Manchester United. And he's costing us points and he's costing us games. So I think, those are the 5 that I would get rid of. I think Mark Goldbridge is right to suggest that Amarim is, struggling. I would have preferred to get rid of Mason Mount over a Garnacho. What has this manager done with Kobe Mainu? So again, he's not doing a good job in my opinion. I would like to see the back of him, but it looks like he will stay around. I suppose the good news is we know now all get a break from Manchester United. I think we all need it. I'm interested, to hear what you guys have to say. So, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one.